You just got a raise. A real one. Maybe 5,000, maybe 10. You told yourself this would finally be the moment when money stops feeling tight. When you finally start saving. When you stop checking your bank account before going to dinner. But 3 months later, you're sitting at your kitchen table looking at the same tight budget, the same stress, the same feeling that you're somehow still behind. And you're thinking, where did it go? I make more money than I ever have. Why doesn't it feel like enough? My name is Ely, and I spend way too much time thinking about how people in the United States experience money psychologically. If you're someone who earns a normal income, maybe even more than you used to, but still doesn't feel financially secure, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Here's the thing. Financial stability in the United States isn't hard because people are bad with money. It's hard because the entire system is designed in a way that makes stability feel like a moving target. And I'm not talking about some conspiracy. I'm talking about the psychological reality of living in a country where your rent can jump 15% in a year, where a single medical emergency can wipe out months of progress, where everyone around you seems to be doing better than they actually are, and where the gap between earning a decent income and feeling secure keeps getting wider. According to the Federal Reserve's 2023 survey on household economics, nearly 40% of Americans would struggle to cover a $400 emergency with cash. 40%. And here's what makes that statistic so uncomfortable. A lot of those people aren't minimum wage workers. They're people earning $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. They have jobs. They have incomes that sound reasonable. And yet, they're one car repair away from crisis. Now you might be thinking, well, those people are probably just overspending. And look, sometimes that's part of it. But here's what most people don't realize. The psychological experience of money in the US is fundamentally different than it was even 20 years ago. And it's different than it is in most other developed countries. Because we've created an environment where the baseline cost of stability keeps rising faster than income, and where the signals we get about what normal looks like are completely distorted. Let me explain what I mean. Let's say you're earning $60,000 a year. That sounds like a solid middle-class income, right? In many parts of the country, it is. But here's the psychological trap. You're not comparing your life to what $60,000 could buy in 1995 or even 2010. You're comparing it to what your coworker with the new car is doing, what your college friends posting vacation photos are doing, what the people in your apartment building who seem to have it together are doing. And that comparison is killing you. This is called social comparison theory, and it's one of the most powerful psychological forces shaping how we experience money. We don't evaluate our financial situation in a vacuum. We evaluate it relative to the people around us. And in the United States, where inequality is high and where social media gives us a front row seat to everyone else's highlight reel, that comparison is constantly telling us we're falling short. But here's where it gets interesting. Even when you remove the comparison, even when you try to just focus on your own numbers, the math itself has become harder. The Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that since 2000, the cost of housing has increased by over 90%, healthcare by over 120%, and college tuition by over 180%. Meanwhile, median wages have increased by about 60%. You see the problem? The things you need to feel stable have gotten dramatically more expensive, while your paycheck has grown much slower. So when you get that raise, when you go from $55,000 to $65,000, you feel like you should finally be ahead. But what actually happens? Your rent goes up because you moved to a slightly better place or your landlord raised it. Your car insurance goes up. You start buying slightly nicer groceries because you feel like you've earned it. Maybe you finally get that gym membership or pay for the streaming services you were sharing. And suddenly, that $10,000 raise has evaporated into your lifestyle without ever touching your savings account. This is lifestyle creep, and it's not just about being undisciplined. It's about how our brains are wired. We adapt to new income levels incredibly fast. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. When you get more money, you experience a brief spike in satisfaction, and then you adjust. The new income becomes your baseline. And because your expenses have crept up to match it, you're back to feeling exactly the same level of financial stress you had before, just at a higher income level. Now look, I know what some of you are thinking. Just budget better. Track your spending. Cut back on the lattes. And yes, awareness helps. But here's the truth. Budgeting doesn't fix the psychological problem. Because the problem isn't that people don't know they're spending more. The problem is that the things they're spending on feel necessary. They feel like the minimum required to live a normal life in the United States. Let me give you a real example. Let's say you're a single person living in a mid-sized city. You're earning $65,000 a year. After taxes, you're taking home around $48,000. Let's break that down monthly. That's $4,000 a month. Your rent for a one-bedroom apartment in a decent neighborhood is probably $1,600 to $2,000. Let's say $1,800. Your car payment, insurance, and gas. Because you need a car in most American cities, that's another $500. Health insurance through your employer, but you still have a deductible and co-pays, so you're setting aside another $200 a month just in case. Groceries, maybe $400 if you're being reasonable. Phone bill, internet, utilities, another $200. Student loan payment, $300. That's $3,400, and we haven't even talked about going out to eat, buying clothes, saving for retirement, or having any kind of life. You've got $600 left, and that $600 is supposed to cover everything else. Build an emergency fund, save for a down payment on a house, invest for the future, and give you the freedom to not feel broke. It's not enough. And this is on $65,000 a year, which is above the median income in this country. So when people say they don't understand why they feel financially insecure, this is why. It's not a failure of budgeting. It's a structural reality. The baseline cost of stability in the United States is high enough that even people earning decent incomes are stuck in a position where one unexpected expense, one medical bill, one job loss, could unravel everything. And here's what makes this even harder psychologically. We've been told our whole lives that if you work hard, get a decent job, and make responsible choices, you'll be fine. You'll be stable. You'll be able to save. But that promise doesn't match the reality most people are living. And when the promise doesn't match the reality, people blame themselves. They think they're doing something wrong. They think they're failing. And that internalized shame makes it even harder to make good financial decisions because now you're operating from a place of stress and scarcity instead of clarity. There's a concept in psychology called financial stress, and it's not the same as being poor. Financial stress is the feeling that you don't have enough margin, that you're one bad month away from falling behind, that you can't relax because the numbers are too tight. And research from the American Psychological Association shows that financial stress is one of the top sources of anxiety in the United States, affecting people across income levels. Here's the thing that surprised me when I started researching this. Financial stress doesn't go away just because you earn more. A study from Princeton found that emotional well-being rises with income up to about $75,000 to $90,000 a year, depending on where you live. But after that, more income doesn't significantly reduce day-to-day stress. Why? Because once you cross that threshold, the financial problems you face aren't about covering basics anymore. They're about keeping up, about expectations, about the gap between where you are and where you feel like you should be. This is the psychological trap of American financial life. You think the next raise will fix it. You think the next promotion will be the one that finally makes you feel secure. But because your lifestyle adjusts, because the people around you are also moving up, because the goalposts keep shifting, you never actually arrive. You just keep running. Now you might be thinking, okay, Ely, this is depressing. What do I actually do about it? And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there's some magic solution that makes all of this easy. But I do think there are real psychological strategies that can help you feel more stable without needing to double your income. The first thing is to recognize that stability isn't about how much you make. It's about the gap between your income and your fixed expenses. That gap is your margin, and margin is what creates the feeling of breathing room. So if you want to feel more secure, the goal isn't just to earn more. It's to protect and widen that gap. Here's a practical way to think about it. Every time you get a raise or a bonus, before you do anything else, decide what percentage of that new money is going to stay invisible. Maybe it's 50%. Maybe it's 70%. That money goes directly into savings or investments before your lifestyle has a chance to absorb it. You're not depriving yourself. You're just keeping your baseline stable while you build actual security in the background. The second thing is to get really honest about what your baseline actually is. Not what you wish it was. Not what it feels like it should be. What it actually is right now. Write down your fixed costs. Rent, car, insurance, debt payments, groceries. Add them up. That number is your financial floor. Everything above that is optional. And I don't mean optional as in frivolous. I mean optional as in you have some control over it. Once you know your floor, you can start making intentional decisions about where you want to spend above it. Maybe you really value going out with friends, so you budget for that. Maybe you care about living alone, so you accept that rent will be higher. The point isn't to cut everything. The point is to stop letting your spending happen on autopilot and then wondering why you feel out of control. The third thing, and this one is huge, is to become aware of the comparison trap. Unfollow people who make you feel behind. Stop treating social media like a documentary of real life. It's not. It's a highlight reel funded by debt, family money, and credit cards. When you see someone your age buying a house or taking a trip to Europe, you have no idea what their full financial picture looks like. They might have help. They might be drowning in debt. They might earn 3 times what you do. You don't know. And comparing your internal experience to someone else's external image is a guaranteed way to feel like you're failing. Here's the fourth thing. Build a small emergency fund before you do anything else. I'm not talking about 6 months of expenses. I'm talking about $1,000, maybe $1,500. Just enough that if your car breaks down or you have a medical copay, you're not immediately going into debt. That tiny buffer creates a psychological shift. It's the difference between feeling like you're on the edge and feeling like you have a little bit of room to breathe. And here's the last thing, and this is the one people resist the most. You have to redefine what financial success means to you. Because right now, for a lot of people, financial success means keeping up. It means having what other people have. It means not feeling behind. And that is a recipe for permanent dissatisfaction because there will always be someone ahead of you. What if financial success meant having 3 months of expenses saved? What if it meant not having to check your bank account before buying groceries? What if it meant being able to say no to overtime because you don't desperately need the extra money? Those are real, tangible markers of stability. And they're achievable even on a normal income if you're willing to let go of the idea that success looks like everyone else's version of it. Now look, I'm not saying any of this is easy. The financial reality in the United States is hard. It's harder than it should be. And a lot of the stress people feel is completely justified. You're not imagining it. The costs are higher. The wages haven't kept up. The safety net is thinner. And the pressure to keep up is relentless. But here's the truth. You can't control the system. You can't control rent prices or healthcare costs or what your friends are posting online. What you can control is how you respond. You can control whether you let lifestyle creep eat every raise. You can control whether you build margin into your life. You can control whether you define success by your own terms or by someone else's. Financial stability in the United States feels hard because it is hard, but it's not impossible. It just requires you to stop playing the game everyone else is playing and start building something that actually works for your life. It requires you to stop waiting for the next raise to fix everything and start making intentional decisions with the money you have right now. Because here's the thing. The feeling of security doesn't come from earning 6 figures. It comes from knowing that you're okay, that you have margin, that you're not one bad month away from falling apart. And you can start building that today, even if your income isn't where you want it to be yet. So if you're watching this and you've been feeling like you're doing something wrong because you make decent money but still feel stressed, I want you to hear this. You're not broken. The system is just set up in a way that makes stability feel out of reach. But you can create your own version of stability by being intentional, by protecting your margin, and by refusing to let comparison dictate how you feel about your progress. If this resonated with you, hit subscribe. I make videos like this breaking down the psychology of money and why financial advice that sounds simple often feels impossible in real life. And if you want to keep going, watch the next video where I talk about why saving money feels harder than it should and what you can do about it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.